this stuff. And after that, they will come, kwa tenti ya nyuma, and they will be asking, so Lord, why did you say that? Now information comes in. Why were you saying that? Why did you do it that way this time and not the way you did it last week? Information. And then he allowed them, he commissioned them, he sent them to go do the same things. And they did it according to how he equipped them in their uniqueness. Okay? In their uniqueness. And that is innovation. Imitation, information, and then innovation. That's how we learn and go through learning that brings change. It's not necessarily from information. And God has something to say about that. When you get knowledge first, it puffs up. You become the know-it-all. And you get satisfied with knowing. I know. But if you start with imitation, you start becoming like. You start doing like. And Timothy is being called to be that kind of a leader who is calling people, guiding people into a space of imitation, showing example for them to follow. So, you don't like my ideas because I'm a young preacher. Let's talk about that. So the first thing Timothy is told is to be an example in what? In speech. Now, I want you to observe the progression that takes place here. It begins where? Here. And then we go deeper and deeper and deeper. Speech. And it's speech because sometimes we speak without thinking. It just comes. We just say things. Sometimes. And so Timothy is told, first, you need to be an example in the way you speak. What are the other words, synonyms of speech? You'll say, be an example in your utterance, that's right. Be an example in your, say it loudly. In your words, yes. Show example in your conversation, right. Show example in your talk. How you talk. So how many of us seated here would say that when I open my mouth, people can for sure tell I love Jesus? How I talk. And this plays out usually in different circumstances and seasons. Different circumstances and seasons. I have observed something. I'm learning. This is our first child. But I'm learning that actually, this thing of the journey of faith is real when you observe the relationship between a parent and a child. No wonder God speaks so much about or refers so much to family relations or father-child when he's talking about our following him. It makes a lot of sense to me now. Because when I'm angry, like just recently, including yesterday, on our way here, by the way, we had a mechanical breakdown. And I got really angry. Got angry with the vehicle, got angry with God. And when I'm angry with God, I express myself. And I ask him questions. And sometimes I even hit the steering wheel. And my wife will tell you that yesterday, I did something similar and my daughter was actually imitating. And I'll say things and she repeats. Oh, this car. Speech. Because when I'm speaking, she's not just observing, but she's also listening. And now, if I was to give her a car and then it breaks down, she knows what to do, my God. And now, I need to teach her something different. She needs to unlearn. So, kazi kwangu. Because I just taught her something. Okay? I like the part that she sees that my dad is real. He's a Christian, he loves God, he serves God's people, but he's not a superhuman. He also gets angry, he gets frustrated, And so the intention is not to show her that I'm superhuman, but the intention is to teach her that even in such circumstances, we can trust God with our emotions and trust that he's making a way. Okay? So I am aware that now, I need to take that teaching to another level. Okay? You, what do you do when you are pressed? What do you say? What kind of words come from your mouth? Sa ile msame kukanyaga tu kwa queue, kwa bank. In the bank hall. And someone just steps on your toe. Man of God, what do you say? Yes. Someone has an example. Or someone cuts the line. Your food. At that moment, what comes from your mouth? Speech, utterance. What utterances do you produce, child of God? Because at that moment, someone can go like, Nani pastor. Or they can go like, Nana sema meokoka. Nana endanga church. Na. Or they can even go like, kama hiyo ndio wokovu. Speech. My friends, it is very, very important. Don't take it lightly. What comes from our mouths, matters so much. And Jesus showed us an example. Jesus went through every kind of circumstance you can imagine. Even experiences where nature, as we may put it, demanded that he utters abuse, insults. But he did not do that. Why? Because he knew that he was the light of the world who had come to give us an example. So that when he's gone, ata tutafute aje, the way now those who are struggling to believe him are looking for every reason to say he is not. They can't find. They can't. Because even to the point of death, instead of going like, wajinga sana. Mungejua tu. He goes like, Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. They do not know. At the point of death, listen to what our master says. Forgive them. Just forgive them. It is important what we say. Our tongues have power. And I know that we even know that scripture that says that with the same tongue, we need to be careful what we say, because these tongues have power to curse. And we want to use the same tongues to do what? To bless. Now we need to be very careful that the cursing that includes shutting the doors of heaven to other people doesn't happen because of my tongue. It doesn't have to be me. It doesn't have to be you, child of God. Don't be the one shutting that door right in front of someone, going like, never. If this is what you call being born again, never. Don't let your tongue shut that door. Be an example. Set an example in the next thing is now life. What are some synonyms of life? Conduct, lifestyle. Maisha ni Kiswahili but uko tu sawa. Lifestyle. How you do life. Way of life. Okay? Let's read Hebrews chapter 13, verse 5 and 6. And then also look at Philippians 1:27. Hebrews 13, 5 and 6. Way of life. Now, like I told you, there's a progression Paul is taking Timothy into. There is speech, and then now we are getting deeper. Way of life. Unajua saa zingine mtu anaongeanga alafu tunasema anakuanga tu. What does that mean? That's his way of, exactly. What he or she is saying, that's just who they are. Okay? Keep your lives free from the love of money. And be content with what you have. Because God has said, never will I leave you, never will I forsake you. Lifestyle. The reason I picked that scripture is because lifestyle and money marry. And let me explain. Let me explain. Do you know, sometimes we can judge people or the people's love for money by just how they do life. Do you know that? We can tell. We can tell how much we love money by how we do life. Sikuzi tunasemanga ni ukweli, but it can be a misleading statement as well. Pesa ni nzuri. Pesa ni poa, si ati nini. Tunaambiananga, tusidanganyane. Pesa ni fiti. And that's true because God doesn't even call money evil. It's not. Money is not evil. But money is attached to the way you do life. And that money will tell whether you will do life to demean the name of God, to demean other people, or do the vice versa. True or false? Lifestyle. How do you do your life? And lifestyle, we experience life in relationships, isn't it? We experience life in just how we use the resources that God has given to us. That's how you can gauge your lifestyle. Okay? The other day, Kenyans were complaining about how the former who are now current CSS, are just doing life. Some of us were very angry with these cabinet secretaries because, even if you have it, you don't have to show us, right? Even if you have it, praise be to the Lord you have it. But how you live that life can cause a lot of damage in the relationships that God has put around you. Lifestyle. How do you do life? How do you do life? I will summarize that this way. There are resources that are common that God has given to us. Time. How do we spend our time? That's why your lifestyle right now, in the next 3-4 months, as a student, you have a timetable that guides you. Sindio? That just becomes your life. Until you close school and then now, you have a different schedule. Time. How do we use the resource of time? What can people learn from us about how we use time? In other words, how we go about our blessings of the day. 24 hours. That's lifestyle. The other thing is talent. How do you use your talents or giftings that God has given to you? Because you experience life through such gifts. How are you using it? I love it. Friends, I love it to sit here and be led or stand here and be led in worship through music by a group of young people who I believe are just pouring themselves out to the Lord, allowing the Lord to use them as they just lead people in worship. Because, friends, there are many other young people who spent last night jumping as well, just like you were jumping here and dancing. They are using their time, they are using their talents. But the question is, where and how and with whom? They are using it. And they're being an example out there. And the sad truth is that our young people, when they see that, they want to be like them. Why? Because someone is watching. Remember we said people are watching. We are always watching. Even you, there's someone you're watching. There's someone you're watching. And the day you realize that the decisions you make are not just for you, you'll be careful to make the next one. You will be very careful because someone is watching. And I like saying that if for instance, I chose to come here this weekend, what did that mean to the community I am leading back at home? What does that mean to my wife and my family? What does that mean to you guys? Because it's a decision that affects all these people I'm mentioning. We don't think about it that way. I'm just thinking, oh, I've been invited. Let me go preach to these young people. No. That decision affects a lot of other things. Life is not just about you. No, it's never about you. Your life is attached to many other lives, friends. So when you're making that decision, know that it's affecting someone else. So the question is how? How do you use your time, talent, and then treasure? Time, talent, treasure. Treasure the resources that God has given to you. And that could be money, that could be your phone, that could develop the sin of greed, which actually, is it greed that the Bible refers to as the same as witchcraft?